All right, so if you're coming from the world of Windows, the Linux command line, well, it can look a little scary, right? It's just a black screen, a blinking cursor. But what if I told you it's actually one of the most powerful and direct ways to control a computer? In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify it one command at a time.
So, let's be real for a second. Have you ever felt like you're on the outside looking in when people start talking about Linux? Like you're missing out on this huge, powerful corner of the tech world? Well, you're in exactly the right place. We're about to hand you the keys.
Okay, let's get right into it, starting with the very basics. I want you to completely reframe how you see this black screen. It's not some scary, empty void. Think of it as your new control center. This is the spot where you tell the computer exactly what to do, with no menus or pop-ups getting in the way.
First things first, what even is this thing we're typing into? It's called the shell. You can think of it as a translator. You type in commands, the shell reads them, and then it tells the operating system what to do. If you've used Command Prompt or PowerShell in Windows, you've got the right idea. It's your direct line to the computer's brain.
And here it is. This window is called the terminal. This is where you'll be having your conversation with the shell. Now, it might look pretty simple, but don't let that fool you. From right here, you can do pretty much anything. This is where all the magic happens.
Now, what's really cool is that you can talk to the shell in two main ways. The first way, and what we'll be doing today, is called an interactive shell. Just think of it like a live conversation with your computer. But there's also a non-interactive shell, which is more like an automated robot. You write a script, basically a to-do list, and the shell just runs through it all by itself. It's unbelievably powerful for automation.
So, how do you actually speak this new language? Well, the grammar is actually super simple. It's almost always a command, followed by some optional options, and then finally the arguments. For example, if you typed ls-l documents, ls is the command. That's your verb, list things. The -l is an option. That's your adverb, telling it how to list things, in a long format. And documents is the argument. That's your noun, the thing I want you to list. Command, option, argument. Verb, adverb, noun. See? Simple.
All right, so you've got the basic grammar down, but knowing a language doesn't help if you don't know where you are. It's like being dropped in a new city. So let's explore the Linux file system. Time to pull out our map and compass.
And this right here, this is your map. Now, unlike Windows where you have a C drive and a D drive and so on, in Linux, everything starts from one single place, the root directory. And it's represented by just a single /. Every file, every folder, every device you plug in, it all lives somewhere under this single unified tree. So how do you find your way around this tree? It's a simple three-step dance. First, you ask, where am I right now? With PWD. That stands for Print Working Directory. Then, you look around and ask, what's in here with me? With ls, which lists the contents. And finally, you say, okay, let's go over there. With cd to change directory. That's it. With just those three, you can get anywhere you need to go.
Okay, so you can move around, you can see what's there, you're a pro navigator. But what about actually doing things? Now that you can find your way around, it's time to start interacting with the files and folders in your new world.
And here's the great news. You already know these concepts. The cp command, that's just your classic copy and paste. The mv command, that's for moving or renaming a file. And rm is for removing something. As you can see, these are just new names for things you already do every single day in Windows.
Okay, but listen up because this is probably the most important thing you need to remember. With the rm command, there is no recycle bin. There is no trash can. Once you tell it to delete something, it is gone. For good. It's the exact same as holding down the Shift key and hitting delete in Windows. It's permanent. Because rm is so powerful, you've got to be careful. So let's build some good habits right now. First, always check where you are with PWD before you delete anything. Second, you can use the -I flag, which stands for interactive. It'll make the system ask you, are you sure, before deleting. And finally, try to avoid the force flag, -F, unless you are 110% positive you know what you're doing.
So you can get around, you can manage your files, you've got the core survival skills down. Now it's time to unlock some of the more advanced tools, the stuff that really shows off why developers and sysadmins absolutely love the power of Linux.
You know how when you plug a USB drive into a Windows machine, it just kind of pops up as the E drive or F drive? That whole process is called mounting in Linux. It's just how you connect a device, like a USB drive, to a folder somewhere in that main directory tree, which makes all its files accessible. So instead of a new letter, the contents of your drive just appear inside a folder.
Every so often, you're going to need to do things that can affect the whole system, like installing new software or changing a really important setting. For that, you need admin powers. In Linux, the magic word for this is sudo, which stands for super user do. It lets you run just one single command with the highest level of permissions.
And honestly, this is the perfect way to think about it as a Windows user. Putting sudo at the start of a command is the exact same idea as right-clicking on a program in Windows and choosing Run as Administrator. It's you telling the system, hey, I know what I'm doing here, and I have the authority to do it.
And just like that, you've basically got the keys to the kingdom. I know it might seem like we only covered a handful of commands, but believe me, with just these few tools, you've unlocked the fundamental way to interact with any Linux system.
So let's do a quick recap of your new toolkit. You can now navigate the entire file system using pwd, ls, and cd. You can manage any file or folder with cp, mv, and a very, very careful rm. And you can access administrator-level power anytime you need it with sudo. You're not just a user anymore, you're an operator.
We've really just scratched the surface here, but you now have the foundational grammar to speak Linux. You're standing at the door with the key in your hand. So the only real question left is, with these powerful new tools at your fingertips, what's the first thing you're going to build?